It's Monday, February 8th, and it's time for your Barbados Today morning news update. Barbados will receive 100,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine sometime this week. The updates from co-coordinator of the National COVID-19 vaccination campaign, Dr. Elizabeth Ferdinand. During a press conference last night on the topic, Barbados and the COVID-19 vaccine, Dr. Ferdinand also revealed that a national operation plan is being developed to look at, among other things, where the doses are going to be administered and the teams that will be responsible for doing so.
Right now, our senior health sisters in each of the 9 polyclinics will be the person in charge of each team, and under them they will have other teams. So among that, and looking after little things like syringes and needles and PEPs and that type of thing. Well, we're hoping to have about 30 teams, and each team has about 8 or 9 people in it. So do your mathematics. My brain is a little rusty from that. But so that's 300, 250 people in teams operating out of each of the 9 polyclinics.
What vaccine are we getting?
We are getting an AstraZeneca vaccine. And we're supposed to be getting 100,000 doses.
Frontline workers at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital will be given priority whenever the AstraZeneca vaccine becomes available. Word of this from the QEH's Executive Chairman, Juliet Bino Sutherland, who tells Barbados Today the Ministry of Health and Wellness has not disclosed to hospital officials when the vaccines will arrive on island. But she says plans are being put in place to facilitate the rollout.
We believe we can comfortably immunize the hospital staff over a period of 7 days, and we have developed a tentative schedule of departments, focusing, of course, first on staff members in the isolation centers, accident and emergency room, emergency ambulance service, all of our clinical departments across the length and breadth of the hospital, radiology, radiotherapy. I can go on. Our medicine, surgery. What we will have at the tail end will be persons like myself who are administrative, purely administrative in nature and not patient-facing. So what we've done is a prioritization where we focus first on our frontline workers.
Bino Sutherland says that the hospital's auditorium is currently being set up and preparations are well underway.
We're focusing on 2 things: the logistics of giving vaccines to at a maximum 2,367 employees, and we're also using this time to raise awareness and sensitize staff members to provide them more information about the vaccine. We would appreciate, because our staff members are our clinical team members, that they would want a lot more detailed information that may not necessarily interest the public, but might necessarily interest clinical professionals. So we're making all of that detailed information already. Our vaccine project is coordinated by retired senior public health nurse Sonia Connell, who is part of Dr. Ferdinand's team, who's been trained as part of the national program.
Meantime, public health nurse and senior health sister at the Winston Scott Polyclinic, Sister Rosanette Cook, says nurses are ready to immunize members of the public against COVID-19.
Yes, we are. We've actually started preparing even on Friday in terms of those persons who are even concerned about I may have an allergic reaction or such like it. We have actually prepared our emergency trays and everything. So we have our supplies, we have our oxygen, and even to go out in the field when we're doing the vaccine, we have all the supplies ready, just waiting for the start date.
AstraZeneca is a good vaccine for the Barbadian population at this time. That's according to President of the Barbados Association of Medical Practitioners, Dr. Linda Williams, who said the association supports the government's efforts to vaccinate the population against COVID-19.
We have reached the place now where we're talking about vaccines and in getting the population vaccinated. And we're also going to be playing a role in this. We have been asked to supply or to use our medical knowledge and expertise in becoming part of the teams that will be set up to be vaccinating the population. And several of our doctors, almost 50 of our doctors, have signed up to assist with the teams and also for the monitoring of persons who were immediately vaccinated after the vaccinations have been given. So we support the effort to vaccinate the population at this time because it's very important that we have good uptake of the vaccine. Barbados has a good history of people being vaccinated. Many vaccine preventable diseases have been eradicated here because of our good history. Most children are vaccinated before their 5th birthday and before their entry into primary school.
Head of the COVID Communications Unit, Ambassador Liz Thompson, is reminding the public that it is an offense to hold any public events at this time. She issued the reminder last night as she disclosed that the COVID-19 monitoring unit had put a stop to at least 4 parties on Sunday. Her revelation came after the country recorded 33 new positive COVID-19 cases on Saturday, which saw the national count of cases moving to 1,709. There are now 291 active cases in the country. 18 people have died as a result of the viral illness.
The compliance team under Mr. Ronald Chapman broke up 4 parties. Yes, people are still having parties, and they're not necessarily wearing their masks, and they're exceeding the number allowed. I'm asked to remind you that it is not legal to have mass gatherings, that this could result in up to 1 year in prison or a fine of up to $50,000. Now, we don't want to criminalize anybody. That is not the intention. We want to protect you, and we want you to protect us and the rest of our country and our communities. We want you to protect your families, and you can't do that if you are not keeping more than 6 feet away from strangers, if you are not washing your hands with soap and water regularly or hand sanitizing, and if you are not wearing your masks, and if you're in mass gatherings. So please.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from the region, former Minister of Health of the Bahamas, Dr. Dwayne Sands, believes the AstraZeneca vaccine is a good fit for the country at this time. More from our news.
100,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine will be administered to several priority groups over a period of 6 weeks in the first instance. While having more than one vaccine for people to choose from would be ideal, Dr. Sands said AstraZeneca is a good fit for the Bahamas.
The truth of the matter is you take what you could get. Vaccines are in very short supply. There are countries fighting to get access to vaccines. Most countries, certainly in the developing world or in the third world, will not have the ability to pick, choose, and refuse. Now, as supply chains improve, then perhaps we'll have the option of multiple different vaccines. But for now, this seems to be a pretty good option.
He also praised the committee for being cautious about giving the vaccine to people over 65, as there is not yet enough data to prove efficacy in people in that age group. He added that as more vaccines roll out, the elderly may be able to get vaccinated.
And finally, dozens of people are missing and feared dead after a dam collapsed in northern India. More in this Reuters TV report.
Over 100 people are missing and feared dead in northern India after a Himalayan glacier broke and swept away a dam on Sunday, causing immense flooding and forcing the evacuation of villages downstream. Several bodies have already been recovered. One witness said a wall of dust, rock and water hit as an avalanche roared down the Rishi Ganga Valley, deep in the mountains of Uttarakhand. Many of those missing are workers at the Rishi Ganga hydroelectric project, which was destroyed. 12 people who had been trapped in a tunnel had been rescued, and efforts were underway to save others caught in another, according to the Federal Home Ministry.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.